I am the executive director here at Artists Working in Education, and I want to welcome you to another Prioritize the Arts Live. So today we're going to be talking about flooding the creative economy, a really important factor of the way we do our work. So before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to thank all of the donors so far. We are so close to reaching our goal, and the end of the year is when we wanted that goal to happen. Today is our last actual live session, but we are definitely going to be watching the thermometer to see once we hit our goal of $150,000. To all 116 of you that have donated, we want to say from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much. We at Artists Working in Education believe that all students deserve access to arts education. We realize that students that are involved in the arts are 4 times more likely to be successful in academic achievement. And students who have 4 years of arts education in music classes or the like average 100 points higher in the SATs than scores of students who only took a half of a year of those classes. So we serve as a pipeline to creative economy opportunities for students, but also for young adults. 72% of businesses say that creativity is a #1 skill they are seeking when hiring. So many people refer to this as a soft skill. We at AWE believe this is a hard skill. And we would be remiss if we didn't bring up the intersection of the arts, culture, and public health. The work we're doing in Healing Arts Studios really reflects what we're doing across all of our programs. But in times like this, we've learned how much more important the arts are to people. We've noticed the inequities. Students in Wisconsin have had less access to virtual learning, and this has been the only way for them to stay caught up in schools. We've done everything we could here at AWE to provide virtual options to replace that gap for students in K through 12. And another really important factor of the times we're living in, given the fact that people are being encouraged to stay at home, seeking safety in a community where there is a spike in violence makes it very difficult to overcome the barriers necessary for young people to succeed. We've focused our energy on healing arts. And we've formed a community of practice to start this narrative. And we're really excited to see what's next in 2021 as we prepare to build these healing arts studios with a community of practice that can professionalize the arts community to heal. 62% of Wisconsin nonprofits were significantly impacted by COVID-19, and many are facing closing. And the challenges will continue. The likelihood is that there will be a decrease in assets to the tune of 33%, and grant making is expected to decline by 22%. But the whole time that we've been sharing this social media live, we have been fully aware that the challenges of 2020 have continued, and they will continue into 2021, but we are certain that you can't stop art. And you all have shown us that this is true. We want to take a moment to thank all of our sponsors that have come through as a match dollar. We received support from all of you to the tune of $32,000. And so it is quite a blessing to be supported in these challenging times, but we are challenging the rest of the community to match that $32,000 contribution from corporations. We also ask the corporations that are interested, reach out. If you'd like to also match some dollars towards our campaign, we would love to include you in our marketing to the end of the year. And as always, we are absolutely available to continue to connect. We will be looking to hire more people in 2021, and we want to continue to see the support that we've received throughout the year, because obviously these problems have not been resolved or fully addressed. And so over this last year, we've learned so much, but I want to bring in our outstanding, fearless leader that has worked with us through this. this year was her first year as our board president. And when we accepted the Nonprofit Excellence Award from Biz Times, one of the statements that I said in it was Janine stepped up to be president in the year that no one wanted to be president. And we are so grateful for her leadership on such a strange year. So I am going to ask Janine to join us.
Thank you, LaShondra. Such nice words that you said. I would like to honestly say back that the fact that you've been the leadership for the staff and for the firm, for the organization as a whole, has truly shown through and allowed AWE to be the birthplace of a lot of new ideas and such great transition. And I think it's just completely due to your willingness to step up and turn what is 2020 into some positives. So
thank you so much, Janine. It's just been interesting. And I think I throw that credit back to an amazing team. Although she's not on screen, I also throw some of that great credit to Becky, who has been working tirelessly through this season because nothing changed for fund development professionals. Nobody said, we're not sure if we're going to give money. We just put out the RFPs and the cycles, and you just keep applying. And we've done that as a team. And we had a leader behind the scenes, Becky Johnson, who is literally behind the actual scenes right now, working really hard to make sure that we had revenue coming in while we were aggressively asking for support under these uncertain times. So it was the both and that got us through 2021. 2020. Look, I keep saying 2021 because I have left 2020. I am now in the future.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Technically, everyone in nonprofit is pretty much in the future at this point because there's nothing else to apply for. There is just things to apply for the future. So I want to ask you a couple really simple questions. So first of all, say some things about what this year has brought to light for you. What have been your reflections going through 2020?
Oh, goodness. So let's see. I think 2020 for me has been similar to some in the sense that has been a year of reflection, more so than perhaps other years. There's been a lot of time that, could have been filled up doing other things outside, social events, gatherings, anything that had inside because, you're trying to do the best for your entire community and stay safe for everybody. And so that does allow for a little bit more of just introspection and coming back to those things that, take care of you personally, as opposed to, going outside and doing things for, friends and family and all the ancillary things that don't necessarily matter as much. So I think just in general, the year has been more reflective. It's also been just kind of a crazy year. I mean, with all of this, you learn a lot about, with the health of our nation and our population. You learn a lot about who you thought you know. You learn a lot about them also because we've had a crazy election. So thankfully, all of that is in the past. But there has been some ups and downs and some realizations, I'm sure, that I'm not alone in that, to where you learn a lot about people with the way that they handle the current situation that they're in. And this is a global situation for this pandemic, and it's a national one for our election. So a little eye-opening at times, but
very eye-opening.
Yeah. But both in, both good and not so good ways. So
that's right.
Yeah, I think that's it's also been, I think, for a lot of people, a time to where you can, learn to accept the differences, and there will always be differences, and you have to acknowledge the fact that difference is not always wrong or bad. So
that's right.
Part of that growth.
A lot of growth this year. I think we were forced to grow, lots of growing pains. And I'm grateful for the growth that I was able to experience. I think as it pertains specifically to AWE, uncertainty sometimes, they say necessity is the mother of all invention, right?
Right.
I think this year we got creative in ways that we thought we already had cornered that market. Turns out there were more creative juices to flow, right? And I think that what I love the most is, I'm going into my third year at AWE,
Mhm.
and as I head towards it, right, it's coming up in May. Um, the realization is a lot of times in relationship building, a lot of the time that it would have taken to build a relationship with folks has been heightened by exactly what you talked about, the way people decide to show up,
Mhm.
right? Like if someone showed up in a way that was productive, then you're like, I like that, and I'm going to lean into that. Versus, sometimes you felt like you had more time to figure it out, right? This year I felt more of a sense of urgency to get things right, to have better conversations, and really to deeper align with this fabulous team of art leaders that I'm working with. Um, and there were many days when we just stared at each other on a screen like, well, I don't know. What do you think? Well, I don't know. And I think that that's fair, right? I think
Right.
it's fair given the circumstances. And we were kind to one another this year. And not everyone was kind. I think that
No.
kindness was a fruit that came out of this year in a different way. For me, I felt a very kind group of people around me. When I the personal stuff for this year is not what we're here to talk about. But let's be
Right.
real. The
Right.
personal stuff was wild, crazy. But
Mhm.
some of us, I clung to work for some security of doing things consistently. Um, but going into 2021, we don't want to function that way, right? We don't want to just be busy. We want to be
Right.
more purposeful, right? And so that's kind of what my thoughts are.
Right. And it helps that there's, hopefully a light at the end of this tunnel. It's coming, there's been some amazing work by people much smarter than I. And so hopefully we'll see an end to this to where we can get back to, the new normal that it will be, and take the good things that we were able to do and glean from, how we're working together and new ways to engage and interact, and hopefully take that forward and leave some of the less productive things. So,
Absolutely. This is absolute truth.
mhm.
I hope for that as well. I'm going to stay hopeful. I know you saw my
Right.
jaded eyeballs, but I hope for that as well. I hope that we do maintain that. But I do want to say, because I don't want to stay here very, very long, and I did promise you this wasn't going to be super long. The main purpose of bringing you on today was to thank you for this weird year that you served in, and you served well. You were extremely supportive when I needed you, which I often didn't know when that was. Because what is happening was 2020 for me. Like,
Right.
I don't know what I need was the most common theme. But I appreciate that you would always ask me or check. What do you need? Are we still meeting? Is everything okay? What do you need me to do? And then still consistently trying to figure out how to connect us with new partnerships to keep the movement going forward.
Well, you are extremely welcome. And I do believe in the mission of AWE. And I really think that the good that we're doing in this community is truly worthwhile. And, I do love the arts, and I love the ability to express yourself through art. So I do feel like that everyone should have access to that. And it does help, and it helps in a way that you can't always articulate. But it helps you grow as a person. And I think our kids need that. And it's just a form of expression that they might not have access to. And the way that the team, and I'm just going to tout one more time about how great and responsive that you guys have been during this, the ability to transition into doing things at a socially distanced manner for arts learning was just, honestly, it was super impressive because, I I truly was taken aback by how quickly and responsively the team was able to change and to pivot into doing something new and offering services in a way that was meaningful and engaging still while being online. And then, add to that the fact that we were able to work with businesses in the area and help with, murals and keeping art alive. So in areas where it didn't look like there was a lot going on, where it looked a little bit less safe than it normally does, we were able to turn that into more of a social response that was positive, which is what the intent of a lot of those protests and demonstrations and everything was. So, y'all did good. Y'all did real good. So
That's the most affirming compliment is y'all did good. That sounds like my mom, right? Like that was really, and I think the team is going to feel the same way. Hearing y'all did good is like food for the soul. It really is. Because I can tell you from that, I think the rest of the team, that blinking stare that I shared with you felt longer than it was.
Right.
I think we were not frozen long, and I'm grateful for that. But there was a frozenness for a moment when we were uncertain whether or not our funders were going to unfreeze dollars. And that was
right.
the entire second quarter. And I am so proud to be on a team that survived that kind of uncertainty without any need for layoffs. It is probably the thing that I personally am taking away from 2020 as our big win is everyone's still at work. Everyone is still able to work, and the show didn't stop, even though the world did.
Right. Which is fantastic. It's really good.
It's a good vibe to end on for the year. And I know 2021 is going to keep being strange for a while, for a season. But I am hopeful for the big melt when we've finished winter and we've turned the corner on the cold season, and I can go buy my first crop of little plants to put into the garden. That's the moment where my hopes are that we can return to some form of in-person connectivity again. And we can return to the way that we connect with communities in a way that's more meaningful. But in the interim, we will continue to connect the way we are now.
And be responsive. That's one thing that, I will say that you guys have been able to do. If there's something that is out there that is a need and we're able to fill it in some way, shape, or form, the team steps up to the plate and does. So.
Well, I'm going to thank you one more time for your absolutely amazing support. You have been an amazing support source for 2020. I am so happy to have gotten to know you so much better. You are super fun to have as a boss. You're a fun boss.
I'm blushing real hard over here, guys. It's hard for me.
But I've really been grateful. This has been quite a journey for all of us. And it's not over. You're still the board president. We're going to do more journeying.
We're going to get so much great stuff out of this. 2020 and 2021. It's going to be
so great. Like it's
for the books, for sure.
For sure. So I want to remind folks one more time, now is the time to contribute to AWE. We so appreciate all the contributions, but we are a little bit less than $45,000 away from hitting our goal, which is amazing, first of all, community, because over 116 people, small numbers, medium numbers, big numbers, donations, multiple donations. So people are signing up for monthly contributions. And thank you to all the monthly contributions, folks. Those have been such a great value add because they, money adds up in small doses just like it does in large ones. And every time you donate, it contributes to our ability to not restrict dollars and to create opportunities as they show up, that's what allowed us to be agile, is the ability to have dollars that were not restricted, that we could use as we saw fit for the community. So we're going to close out, but we just want to say to everyone out here in the community, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for donating. And we will see you throughout the rest of this year on social media, but we look forward to serving you more in 2021. Bye-bye.